Ah! Oh, is it happening? Hey, okay. Well, this is good. I'm live, I think. Okay, so I'm trying to connect to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. And I just actually got it on Facebook. And now, when I go into OBS and click on Facebook, I get this dumb fail to connect to stream notification. So I am very pissed off about that because everyone says to use OBS. They act like it's easy. And I've spent countless hours on trying to just stream to 2 platforms, which is less than what most people want. Usually they use 3 or 4. And every single time I run into problems that are not well documented. So anyway, that's not great. But it is nice that I'm live on YouTube. Oh my gosh, hello, Danu. It's nice to see you. And I can kind of see the chat too, so that's nice. Okay, so I'm very excited about Microtonal Monday today because we might have Sevish and Benyamind here. Maybe not. But we are also playing with the hammer dulcimer. Let me try Facebook again. Come on. I wonder if I just recreate Facebook, if that'll work. Here, because I have a plugin that allows me to just add stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one for Facebook and try it again. And then it should work. I really hope it will, that is. Okay, here we go. So all right, let's see. Here we go, streaming software. Okay, copying this in. Please work. And then there's that. Okay. God, please work. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, I think this should work. Okay, hello, Facebook. If this is even working. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you as well, YouTube. Let's see. Oh, Danu says his favorite is 15 tone equal temperament last week, but he changed his mind because usual melodies break, and he's just sticking to 31. You know, that's a great point. And actually, I like 15 for that reason. It forces me to think about stepwise motion differently, and yet I have the same triads. But it also doesn't just have, like, quarter tone logic, so it's, like, very basic, but it does a lot of great stuff. Okay, so, let's talk about this dulcimer here. So, I'm pretty sure I got this hammer dulcimer for Christmas, because when I was at Ball State, there was a semester where we played a crumb piece in New Music Ensemble that used a dulcimer. I don't remember which crumb piece it was, but I was just so enamored with it because as an instrument, it's very easy to retune. So you just have this beautiful, gorgeous thing, and you can retune the strings however you want, right? So isn't that great? And so what I've done is I've retuned this dulcimer to 17 tone equal temperament because I'm working on covering Ancient Love by Sevish and Benyamind, which is a very cool track. Check this out. Let me bring this in for you. I'm gonna move this laptop a bit. Come on, laptop. I wonder if we can get it like this. There we go. Oh, yeah. Isn't that nice? Okay, so in Ancient Love, this dulcimer is used after, like, the key change. So you could think of you could think of the main chord progression as coming from like 4-chord cycles, and these cycles can either be reinterpreted as linear shifts or coming from the same kind of minor scale, which I think is really creative. I'll explain. So, like in the very first part, here, I'll play the first part for you over here. Okay, so the version you heard there, by the way, also was not the main song. It's the cover that I'm making. So with the synths that kind of like make a wah sound because of changing EQ, I've replaced that with my voice in the cover, and then the saxophone may make an appearance. So I'm very excited about all the instruments that are going to be in this, and just the sheer scale of the vocal parts that I'm putting in. So that first chord progression, if you play it in 12-tone equal temperament, it's kind of like this. If I have my 12-tone equal tempered piano on. Like, this is a really exciting Microtonal Monday, so there should be more people here. So if you're watching this stream, tell all your friends and be like, hey, this is a really good one, because he's playing with all the instruments. So, like, if you started that first chord... The idea is that, like, it's sort of like a sus chord. Doesn't have that third in it yet. Because, Ancient Love is in 17-tone equal temperament. And so, the most, normal sounding chords compared to 12-tone equal temperament are suspended chords. Because the fourths and fifths are really close. So, with this kind of situation, as an opener, it can sort of lead you into new territory. So it sounds kind of like E flat, with like suspensions at 2 and 4, right? And then kind of a B flat. But it's not just a straight up major chord. Let's compare this to 17. No wait, that's not E flat, sorry. And this is really clever on Sevish and Benjamin's part. The B flat is an inversion as a second chord. There's a D in the bottom. And so the 17-tone major chord tonality doesn't sound out of tune. They also include a fourth above it. Because if you just have a bare 17-tone major chord like this, that actually doesn't sound too bad. But there could be a situation where it sounds kind of shrill. Yeah, like that. Adding more notes in it from a diatonic tonality will kind of help smooth it out. So, that's like 5 notes in there, what I just did. And so, in Ancient Love, it starts with this. And then goes B flat, but it has a G in it. So, what's really cool about that is the A flat also just shifts down by semitone to G. So you get this situation where an ordinary motion from an E flat chord to a B flat chord now sounds like a linear shift instead. Let's see. Danu says, I also have a favorite chord now. Suspended half flat fourth. Yes. I love 21/16. That's great. I feel like, fourths are... like, if you have a fourth that's not quite in tune with 4/3. Hey, hi, Airmax. It's so nice to see you here. If you have a fourth that's not in tune with 4/3, I feel like that doesn't sound as dissonant as a wolf fifth. My cat she is enjoying getting petted right now. She's just sitting on this chair and being like, oh boy, please pet me. As we talk about microtonal chords. So, okay. So, that's the first chord. E flat suspended. like a B flat 6, and then it goes back to this E flat tonality, but this time it includes the minor note, and it maybe has the 4th and then sometimes has the 7th. So these are all the black keys, right? And then the last one is kind of like a B flat power chord, but it might have some more notes in it. Like it might have the sus2. So that's pretty neat, right? And there's various times in the song where Sevish and Benyamind play with the notion that if you reduced this construct, like if you just took like, you know, like E flat and B flat going back and forth, that's a completely tonal relationship, right? But there's so many ways that they mess with that simple idea that makes it sound different. And then the modality is really neat. Because I think initially, if you hear that first chord progression, you kind of think that the tonality might be like kind of a B flat tonality, because the B flat is a low root at the end of the cycle, and you know, you could interpret the E flat minor chords as like being like predominant chords, and then and then there's a section where it moves into F flat. So let's talk a little bit about F flat. Yes, Wiggles is adorable. Let's see. So, check this out. By the way, I've got the 12-tone piano and the pink piano fired up, so if anyone has any questions in the chat or wants to compare intervals, or they're like, hey, that neutral second just sounded like a major second, I call BS. And we can go over to the other piano and prove you wrong. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to text my mom and see if I'm live on both platforms. Because, by the way, I've been dealing with a lot of streaming issues, so I'm trying to get to YouTube and Facebook Live at the same time. So theoretically, it should be working. So I wonder, wait, can I check Facebook chat? Yes! Ralph, you're here! Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see Ralph. He's this wonderful composer that I have not hung out with nearly enough for YouTube. Actually, this is interesting. Like, trying to manage, like, both of the chats at the same time. It is fascinating. Okay, so, here we go. Okay, so I think we're live on both platforms, and I don't need to bother my mom. My poor mom is just this guinea pig. Okay, so, here's what I really love about F flat major in 17-tone equal temperament. It's the same as D sharp major. Oh no. Oh no. And here's why we have to call it F flat major. Because, in my mind, we've already, like, in the first part of the song in Ancient Love, we've already been in E flat. And, like, E flat is just a normal key that we can read, right? Or that we have been reading in 12-tone equal temperament. It's not that we couldn't read any of these keys. It's we want the labels that we're accustomed to already. So, with this E flat here, and B flat, and then, you know, E flat minor, and then like a B flat sus chord there at the end, the song modulates up a half step for that flat 2 chord, and then the progression fundamentally changes character. So, a C flat chord and an F flat chord kind of play off of each other, and there's also a little bit of E flat minor involved, but the F flat chord is not minor as the E flat minor chord was before. So when Ancient Love modulates, it's not a real transposition where all of the modality is the same. So what happens is a new chord progression or new implication of a chord progression is created involving these flattier keys. So one thing I love about 17-tone equal temperament is that its chromatic semitones and its neutral seconds are the same, which is very exciting. So, if you just have like a normal F here, F flat is down 2 keys. F, E, F flat. So, you know, these things, like, you wouldn't want to spell it that way. I guess you could spell it F, F half flat, F flat. This is also F, E, E half flat. But I think, like, the fact that we can compare F flat and E flat in a normal way really necessitates F flat here. Now, if you listen to the song later, there's a very chromatic middle section that is classic Benjamin, that stacks a fourth and a seventh on top of this F flat, forcing us to spell B double flat and E double flat. And then E double flat moves down a neutral second to C, which is very exciting. See, here's C, and here's E double flat. They're a neutral second away from each other. It's very cool. So here's E. Here's E flat. Right, down 2. And then down 2 again for another flat. So like this would be E half flat, E flat, E sesqui flat, E double flat. I have never seen a sesqui flat used in 1710 music, organically. You know what's really weird about 1710? Oh, 1710, I'm quickly enjoying it more and more from a notational perspective, because what's happening, what often happens with it is you run into situations where if you do like anything unusual at all in the voice leading, you'll find that you have to be very careful about the voices actually look like they're moving up and down if you want to notate things normally. So there's often an exchange. Like you might just have a line that's going down like this, right? Like this would just be like F, E, D sharp, right? But the chords that you have might not even be related to that at all, and you might have to just, to notate it, like, you know, I don't know, you might have to notate this like, I can't even think of a good way to notate it right now. It's probably easier to do things in the black keys, like if we had like D half flat, D flat, there might be a situation where if you're writing in 1710 and you want to spell normal chords, this would be D, C sharp, D flat. But if you were to see that on the page, that linear melody doesn't give an impression of descending. Because if you know, D, C sharp, D flat, on the page looks like D, C sharp, D flat. It's gone up. So that's something to be, oh, I guess I clipped just now. That's something to be careful of in 17-tone equal temperament. I can actually see my audio, which is really cool. Let's see. Oh, anyone in Facebook? 2 low frames. Well, that's interesting. It says on Facebook, the current frame rate is too low. Please set the frame rate to 15 to 60. Well, that's interesting. On OBS, I'm broadcasting at 60 frames per second. So I don't know what that's about. But, well. Let's see. Okay. Great. So I promised I would play with the dulcimer. I'm not going to take too long. I'm just very... Ancient Love has brought me a lot of enthusiasm as a cover project. I also had Ian over at my house, and we did a live stream, if you recall, maybe a few months ago. So I guess in September there'll come a time when Ancient Month has been out for 7 months, and so then I can release it then. Speaking of dates, yesterday was my anniversary of my first date with my wife, which is really cool. So we went out to a Mexican restaurant, and that was fun. So yeah, so it's been a good weekend, I would say. Okay, great. So we were messing around at E flat, B flat, blah 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 blah, and then the new progression, E flat going up to F flat, which, as you recall, is the same as D sharp. That means that our F flat major scale is kind of like this. F flat, G flat, A flat, B double flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat. So the half steps are on black keys. And that means the entire scale is on black keys. Benya! I'm so glad you're here. I haven't gotten to the dulcimer yet, but we're talking about the cool chord progressions in Ancient Love. Okay, so after the key change, in F flat we have this kind of situation. We have kind of like an F flat 9 chord that sometimes has like the 6th on it. In the progressions, the 7th doesn't tend to be there, but I find that since it's diatonic, it makes for something good. Oh, sorry. anytime you can include fifths in the 17th chords, it's nice. Okay, so the basic kind of structure here is, like, I would describe the roots this way. If you just have an F flat chord, like, the basic progression is F flat, and then, like, F minor, or, B flat sus, whichever perspective you kind of want for that. And then, that B flat sus, you can either think of it as going up by a normal semitone as a linear shift to C flat tonality, or you can think of it moving in a really cool, weird way to E flat down here and then C flat. And it may have a major 7th in it, it may not. I think it more often has a 9th in it. So C flat, and then this C flat has an E flat in the bass. And then it just goes back to E flat tonality. So, like, overall, the Ancient Love chord progression, like, if you played it all together, it'd be kind of like... Absolutely sick changes. Let's try that in 12 and see how it doesn't sound as cool. So, like, it's still in 12. I think it retains its character, but there's shifts in the chords that sound wrong. And so what I'm trying to do in Ancient Love, in my cover, I changed something a little bit. Ben, you mind? Are you still here? I haven't scared you away yet, have I? What I'm trying to do is there's all these moments where I can take advantage of a neutral second moving between chords. And Benya and Sean are doing the opposite of this, I think, in general. Just to be, like, smart about their chord movement and not, like, have a movement that sounds really weird. But later, it's kind of utilized in the middle section. So I will get to playing the dulcimer, I promise. Oh, good. We're already 30 minutes down. Okay, so I've got to do this and then probably play with the dulcimer and then be done. So, check this out. So, F flat. I get, you get this kind of chord, and then there's a neutral second movement from F flat to F. And you also can have a neutral movement from C flat to C. And then F flat and G flat can move down to F and G if you want. Or the A flat can stay in the minor chord. By the way, this, F minor chord, aw, thanks. This F minor chord, like, it can have a D in it, I think. And then the D moving to E flat is really cool. I played that once in the cover and then it didn't kind of, like... I kind of forgot to, like, actually resolve the D. I just went down to the root because I was having trouble thinking of the chord with the double keys. Because it's kind of hard to play. But yeah, no, this is so cool. I love, like, an F minor shift going to C flat. Because, F can go down to E flat. But then the C moving to the C flat, I think is so cool. Oh, I love it. And then the best part is that moving down to C can crunch with B flat, right? Because B flat is the 7th of a C flat major chord. So I just love that. There's, in my version of the cover, in the piano part, there's lots of times where I, instead of playing, like, the linear shift... Sorry. E flat is right here. Like, I do this in the intro, but then in the later parts, you know, I see that, like, there's a G here, right? And then an A here, you know, that I could include. So I'm thinking of other notes that I could include in the tonality of the chord. So, like, you know, if I have an E flat minor chord that has an A flat in it, I can play like this. and then A flat going to A is a neutral second. So moving a neutral second in the upper voice, oh, I just love it. It highlights the shift to the new chord in a way that forces you to realize that it's 17-10 and not 12. Okay, so I think we've gone over Ancient Love chord progressions enough. There's so much we could talk about with Ancient Love because it's so cool, especially that middle section where all of a sudden the instruments drop out and there's just a keyboard playing like, which hilariously I found out is like an arpeggiator. So the pattern isn't consistent enough for me every time to really play it well. So I made my own pattern that was similar and played that in the cover. So look forward to the Ancient Love cover. It is coming soon. It is the next thing. I'm very excited about it. All of the audio is in the computer and mixed decently, which is good enough for me because of the amount of time I have to do these. And all of the videos in the computer except miming the singing. So now the only thing I have to do is go through and videotape myself singing like ooh and ah and e like 50 times. And then I'll have everything. I need to do some exporting in that. Oh, and then there's the editing. So it takes a long time. It really does. Wiggles, you want to say hi to the stream? Hi. Oh, she's a baby. Okay. Are you ready to move on to the dulcimer? She doesn't have an answer to that one. Okay. Here we go. Switching over. Well, look who's here. Okay, so this dulcimer thing is great. And by the way, for the Facebook people, I'm sorry if Facebook is giving you a low frame rate. I don't know how to fix that. This is the first time I've successfully streamed to both platforms at once. Let's see. Oh, Ralph said live with the cat earlier, not live with the chat. That's funny. Okay, so here's the dulcimer. And I haven't tried to retune it this morning. So it might be a little bit out of tune from where it was. But for Ancient Love, I've retuned it for that second part that has like the key change. So it's kind of in an F-flat Phrygian scale. Oh, it's so beautiful. That whole thing. This is great. Because like I retuned this for Ancient Love and I've put in all the dulcimer parts I need, and now I'm like sad that I'm not using this in something else. So I might create like some random dulcimer song that uses, I don't know, like an F-flat tonality in 17-10 or something. So the dulcimer part, let's see. Almost. I know. You can kind of get at this pentatonic scale in the part. And since there's a bridge over here, and the fifths are close enough, this is G flat, A flat, E flat, D flat, E flat, and there's also a G flat, E flat up here. Come on. I keep forgetting there's that extra note in there. So here's how this whole thing is tuned. E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat. So that is just a diatonic E flat Phrygian scale all the way up. Oh wow, that's interesting. That would have the same flats as C flat, wouldn't it? Hey, if you're on Facebook, comment in the chat so that I know that I'm just not completely frozen. Let's see. Oh, Facebook. Okay, so, we've got that. And we can play cool stuff, like we can play, fifths. And then I can damp some other stuff. And there's this fifth here. Oh, I love how the fifth sounds on the dulcimer. Doesn't it sound great? Okay, so earlier you might recall that there were some chromatic chords in the chord progression. Like if the basic tonality is kind of like F flat, F minor, C flat, and then E flat minor again. It means that in the F chord, we have some C's and F's that we have to account for. So what I've done is I've got that over here. So like the dulcimer part in the F flat section kind of goes like... So it's sort of playing that descending figure. And then after it shifts into F minor, I don't remember exactly how it's played, but these notes get played. And what's really nice about those fifths in the dulcimer is if I've got like an F here, right? Like F, A flat, B flat, C, E flat, F. Isn't that so cool? So now just on 3 strings, I have the entire pentatonic scale because the fifth stack. So I was able to play that descending pentatonic run that I needed, just particularly in the F minor section by doing that. And then the other pieces were pretty self-explanatory. There was also, in the C flat tonality, there was an F in the dulcimer part. So I did also have to go over here. So there's F and G flat. Whereas if I was over here and I try this, here's that F flat and G flat, and here's F and G flat. Let's see if I can find this up here. So like here's G flat, F, G flat, F flat. So now you can hear the neutral second between F flat and F on the dulcimer. Instead of it's so cool. Neutral seconds and chromatic semitones being the same. Love that about 17. I think that's my favorite. That's my favorite 17 thing. There's one more thing I should mention in the tuning of this dulcimer, which is that you heard that the right side, I sorted it in a way that was easy for me to understand. The right side was like basically normal, right? Just like F flat Phrygian stuff. Or sorry, E flat Phrygian stuff, F flat major. Or no, it would be F flat Lydian, E flat Phrygian, kind of coming from C flat major. I keep thinking it's F flat major, but then it's got that B flat in it, which is a sharp 4. Although there is a part where Benjamin uses a fourth above it in the middle section and makes it B double flat. And he also uses the flatted 7th as well, E double flat. And when E double flat moves to C, it's actually a neutral second away, or it's the same as a neutral second away, which is very cool. That's a really Zen harmonic relationship, right? This left side is a bit more wonky since I had to have like the F minor scale that I needed, right? So this is F, A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat, F, G flat. And like this is kind of coming from the scale. G flat, A flat. And there's a part in the dulcimer part where it like holds on an A flat and then goes... It goes a neutral second up. So then these notes in a row are A flat, A, C flat, which is so cool because we need A flat and C flat at another time, a minor third, and so then this here is a neutral second. So all those notes written in a row are A flat, A, C flat, and then the rest of them are just still from E flat Phrygian. So then this helped on the higher notes. Like that little high dulcimer part at the end. Wow, I wish I could have played it that well during that recording. But you get the idea. That's nice. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share that dulcimer with you. Maybe I'll bring it into work today. I love this A flat, A, C flat motion. There's a Snapchat I made where I use this to play melody. Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. It's got such a gorgeous tone. Well, maybe if I don't always play this in the ancient love tonality, I'll definitely play it in 17 tone a lot. Thanks for coming out, Benya. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate all you guys showing up for the stream. It's always so welcomed, and I'm so happy to share this information with people. It's very fun for me. So thank you, and hopefully Facebook didn't butcher this too badly. Seems like YouTube probably did okay. So I will see you guys next time. Adios.